Welcome to Bicycle Retail Radio, the bicycle industry podcast that brings retailers, vendors, advocates, and thought leaders to the mic for honest discussions about the latest issues facing retailers while taking an in-depth look at the person within the profession.
Registration is officially open, and we want you to join us for the second annual NBDA Retailer Summit, May 22nd and 23rd in Bentonville, Arkansas. Our 2024 program features 2 dynamic days of presentations, panel discussions, and breakout sessions aimed to unite retailers and suppliers in conversation. Tickets include an event gift bag, tailored educational events, networking cocktail event and select meals, early access to the Bentonville Bike Fest, not to mention ample riding time on world-class trails. You won't want to miss it, so don't. Get registered today at nbda.com.
Welcome to the Friday Flex. Today's version is our Technician Flex. It's our version of Bicycle Retail Radio where we focus on the service center and mechanics. And this conversation is produced in partnership with NBDA educational partner, Northwest Arkansas's Community College Bicycle Assembly and Repair Technician Program Director, Benjamin Glenn. Ben,
Hello,
thanks
everyone.
for joining.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This is great. Love these episodes. They're a lot of fun. It's a blast to do these. So thank you, Heather. Thanks, NBDA and all the dealers out there. Appreciate all the great feedback, and it's always welcome.
It's awesome. It's awesome. I was just talking to a retailer the other day who said he really enjoys this this feature on our Friday Flex. So thrilled that you make time and prioritize this podcast taping episode. So listeners, whether you're a beginner, intermediate, or advanced cycling enthusiast, Northwest Arkansas Community College's unique location within Northwest Arkansas along the Missouri Trailhead offers affordable, industry-recognized training that can enhance your hobby or just really further your career in the cycling industry. So if you're a bicycle retailer, maybe you've brought some new staff into your organization and they're looking for industry recognized training where they can actually get accreditation, a certification in bicycle assembly and repair. Northwest Arkansas Community College is the place to look. Ben, you've been with the college for some time now, right?
Yes, since the beginning, I guess. So this is the end of cohort 3, so the end of close to my year 3 here. So it's been great. I've loved helping and working alongside a great team here. We built this program kind of from the ground up with some awesome industry partners. We could not do that, could not have what we have without great partners. I could start naming them, but I think we'd be here forever. So it's fantastic to have that support. A lot of folks knowledge share as well with best practices and what's working for their shops and what we see historically that works great for the bicycle industry, and then also those things that don't work so great as well. We have to consider those. So best practices, teaching efficiency, proficiency, and then of course that leads to profitability, and that's kind of the name of the game here. Is we're teaching our students and working alongside our students to develop the skills that they can repeat, so that efficiency piece, and then they can also do it and make money, right? So that's great. We love bikes. We all love bikes, but of course, at the end of the day, if we can keep the lights on, that helps a lot.
100%. And third year, congratulations from where I'm sitting. It's been amazing to watch the college continue to grow, and you've even, I know, increased your curriculum. And I'm thankful, as we were just talking before we hit record here, our Retailer Summit is happening in May 2024. And last year, we were able to do a tour of the facility and bring our retailer attendees into the facility to meet you. And that was awesome. And we're going to do it again. So yeah, lots of opportunity. If you're listening and you haven't heard of the summit, the NBDA website can tell you more. And we'll be touring the facility again if you opt into that special activity.
Mm.
Yeah, but these flexes are fun. So what we do, Ben and I, we take any questions that our retailers that are NBDA members submit to us. And these can be on service department operations, mechanics training, just those questions that we get, like how to sell service, whatnot. And we answer them live. So it's pretty awesome. You can write us anytime. You can send them directly to me, heather@nbda.com. And we will be sure to answer as many questions as we can. So this is episode 6. I think we have a couple questions to get to. Before that, Ben, so it's spring now, right? So what is the school doing? What are you working on? Just catch us up.
Yeah, it's spring. Spring break is this week, so hopefully students are resting and enjoying some time away from the bike because they've spent a lot of times tinkering and wrenching on the bikes, and hopefully maybe they're riding a bike and actually enjoying it as opposed to taking them apart and putting it back together. We're excited because graduation's just coming up second week of May actually, and we'll be able to see 21 graduates from the program. All of those with the accredited certificate from the Bicycle Industry Employers Association. 14 of those are going to earn a technical certificate from the state of Arkansas. And then we have 7 that are completing an associates of science degree. So super pumped for the students. They are itching to get to work. A lot of them have right now. We have several that are employed locally. Got some folks that are staying around the college to finish up some other educational endeavors. And then we have some folks that are just kind of undecided what they want to do. So I'm hoping to push them over the line this last month and really get them plugged in with some of the great dealers in the industry that's around the region and also just around the U.S. We have students that are really wanting to branch out a little bit, and they're ready to spread their wings and fly away from Arkansas. So we have been super busy this semester, diving deep into suspension and wheels, e-bikes, service operations, one of my favorite classes there. We're wrapping up some lectures on service advising process, customer interactions, doing some role-playing exercises. Our e-bikes, it's all about, diagnostics and discussions about those standards and kind of future predictions that are coming around the corner for us. Our wheels course students, I believe they built like 4 wheels so far this semester, and then we'll go into some specialty wheel builds, get into some carbon and variations and lacing patterns. And suspension, we're going to dive deep into linkage and rear shocks. We just spent probably the students would say probably way too many hours talking about front suspension, but honestly, it's great to get the repetitions on how to do that service efficiently so that they can offer that to customers and to riders at the shops they work in.
That is cool. 21 graduates. I'm thinking that you've been doing this for a couple of years now. Have you had graduates reach back out to you and just kind of update you on where they are and what they're doing?
We have, yes. We've got several that are still just working at the same place in the area. We've got a unique opportunity here that we can have actually a couple shops that are specific to suspension service, and both we have students that are working there. I've got some folks that are working at just your general retail shop. Some people that moved away. I've got one student that went out to Utah to go to pilot school, and his endeavor was to basically kind of do the helicopter. They load you up and then they take you to the top of the mountain and let you do the run like that. So that was. I hope he's doing great. I need to reach out to him, and then we've got some students that are just in some other areas that are all working for retail shops and just really loving the environment. I think a lot of them have learned a lot. That practical day-to-day work is a lot different than academic work. It sure is. And I will say that the academic part of this really gives a lot of fundamentals, sets them on a great path. They create this expectation for themselves of excellence, and they're able to apply that every day to that kid's bike or whatever they have coming in the door. So it's great to see the growth for sure.
I love to see that you're creating fabulously skilled mechanics for our industry. That's amazing. Thank you. Did I see you added some workshops to the college offering?
Yeah, so excited about this. This was probably this is kind of like one of those projects I've had in the back of my mind since I've got here. But how can we serve our region, the people here that are coming through the community college? Community college is focuses on that workforce that's within our region. So we're talking kind of the Arkansas, Oklahoma, Missouri, maybe up in a little bit of Kansas region. But we're super excited to not only be offering, our standard classes in our current morning format, but we're also going to offer afternoon, evening classes as well. So those will start in the fall semester, and we're going to be able to offer Monday and Wednesday classes from 6 to 8:45, and that'll be 2 classes there. And then Tuesday, Thursday from 4:30 to 8:45, which will encompass the other 3 classes for our fall block of courses required. Plus, we've got another new thing. The building, the space we're in, I know, Heather, you saw it. The other 2/3 of the building has undergone some remodel. That's about to wrap up. We're going to have a brand new bike workshop or bicycle workshop, which is going to be focused on community clinics. It'll be its own separate space from our bicycle tech lab, which is just behind me here in the picture. This is going to actually offer courses, clinics that are going to focus on just bike ownership. So to enhance that experience as a bike owner. So we're not talking about people that are looking to get into the industry, but to, if you own a bike, we've got a class, we've got a topic for you. It's a 2-hour course, Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon. We're also kind of thinking about like getting those in the evening as well. It just really depends on what demand's like, but we'll cover topics like, flat fixes and tubeless conversions, quick tunes, cleanups, race day, event prep, some of those touch points and upgrades. So, what kind of saddle do I buy? How do I even start talking to someone about what saddle or handlebars, grips to purchase? Suspension 101 basically is just going to cover like setting sag and just how to take care of your nice full suspension mountain bike. And then also know when to see the shop. And that's really important, is that we educate customers just enough so that they can come into the shop and really describe what's happening. That is really great, and hopefully going to build some confidence for them to ride a little bit more. And that's really what it's all about. It's just better experience on the bike, have more confidence, allow people to go out and do that 20-mile bike ride, or, hey, I'm going to ride my bike, to work or to grab my groceries today, as opposed to jumping in the car. So they know if they have a flat, they can fix it. They know if their chain comes off, it's easy to put back on. If they have some other issue, hopefully they'll know how to approach the bike shop and really have a great relationship with that local shop.
I absolutely love this. Kudos to you for your time and resource and energy to put into these. And I wish I lived closer. And yeah, it's awesome what you're doing. And I think we spoke last time about retailers even thinking about some of these community clinics you could offer in your own store. So love what you're doing here. Yeah,
absolutely.
fabulous.
Yeah, speaking of kind of that remote work there, that's not too far off in the back of my mind either. So how can we take this thing fully, or at least parts of it fully remote? But that's a whole nother realm of brainstorming that I need to think through.
Be careful when the 2 of us get together and
Oh,
struggle.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
All right, so what I did for today is we had a bunch of questions. So I just took 4. So we're going to get into some questions covering selling service, chain perfection, tubeless setup, and then a question on e-bikes. So I feel like we always get a question on e-bikes. All right, so here we go. Let's dive in. The first one is, Ben, can you share some strategies for upselling repair and upgrade services to customers who just come in for routine maintenance or repairs? So how do we upsell repair or upgrade services?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. I love thinking about this, how to enhance that customer's ride as well.
That's a better way to say it. Yeah.
Selling these days is not easy, and I don't think it's ever been. You really have to kind of think through the process. And yeah. So I think we're up against a little bit of inventory. We've got piles of inventory, and most of our shops need to make money. So honestly, discounting anything should be off the table, right? We can agree on that. We don't want to give our service away. We know that the rider paid a lot of money for their bike, no matter that price ticket, or the ticket price on that one. So if they paid $500 for it, whatever that looks like, all the way up to 15,000 or whatever it is, that's the money they paid. So we need to kind of respect that at the service counter and talk it up. Talk that up. They have a bike. It's a great bike, right? I want to make sure this bike is in top shape for you. What can I do for you to make that bike ride a little bit better? And we got to leave our personal opinions out of it. It doesn't really matter what you think, right? You want to make them feel special. We want to make them feel special what they own as well. So we're really trying to tap into that emotional attachment, why they ride the bike, what they like about the bike. And I think that's the first step, just to selling that service and having them open to some type of upsell on a repair or an upgrade service. Um, Being able to leverage that after the fact, you build that little bit of trust in the beginning. You know their name, you know a little bit about them, you know why they like to ride the bike, what they use their bike for, whatever that is, that's what we're going to focus on, is to make that experience on the bike, great. We want to enhance that. So, getting to know them, yes, absolutely. Talk to them. Don't immediately go right to the bike.
Oh, right.
What are they wanting to do with the bike? What kind of experience do they want? We're talking everyone from your weekend warriors all the way to folks that are using the bike for transportation. What kind of experiences or services can we use to enhance that? So if they're on their bike, that's what they use. They get their groceries, they go to work, it's all the time, right? Things like accessory upgrades, fenders, racks, bags, a better light, even those touch points. A lot of folks, kind of maybe miss those touch points, and maybe that's something we put more on the sales floor. But grips, bar wrap, the saddle as well. I'd also talk up a good bike fit. If you're riding your bike that much, that's a lot of time on the bike. I've got several colleagues that are riding 10 miles a day, so that's 50 miles a week on one bike. If it's not feeling comfortable, they're not going to want to ride it that much. For that weekend warrior, this is a great time to talk about suspension service. This is key to comfort, traction, speed. They'll be able to session a feature with a lot more confidence if their suspension's working right. They've got limited time on the bike, so we want to make sure that they get the full value of that bike and they paid top dollar for it. Another part of upselling or upgrading, you can kind of think of it as, what services can I offer now that would be proactive versus kind of that reactive service? Are we always doing just enough to get the rider back on the bike?
Right.
Down the road, and then we're going to see them back in here next month? Or is it an opportunity to ask the rider, hey, can I take a more in-depth look at your bike while it's here? Not just do the flat, but let me do a good inspection on this, and then offer them services in that estimate or in that conversation around why they come in that day. That'll keep them on the bike a little bit longer. Hey, I noticed your suspension, you got a lot of dirt debris build up around these wiper seals. Looks like, have you ever had a 50-hour service done or lower leg service done? And then that's a great conversation to get into. Well, this is what it's going to do for you. It's going to bring everything back up to speed. It's going to allow that suspension piece to work correctly for you. Inspecting linkage, if you see a lot of dirt, debris, a lot of old grease, got the piles of dirt hanging out around that linkage, it's probably due for a little bit of a linkage service as well. So not only just the shock service, but hey, part of our shock service, we also inspect our linkages as well. These aren't working right. The whole system is designed to work together. We want these things to work correctly so that you can have a better time on the bike. Brake pads, we always want to measure the brake pad surface, the braking surface, those rotors, rims, all of those pieces like that. And when you're talking about the rims, this braking surface on the rim, things look great. This is perfect, but is that wheel true? Do you notice anything about the hub? That hub attaches to a dropout, the front or rear. Is there something up with that? Can we offer some other service there? We're talking about service, right? There's always opportunity to even get into some bike sales, I think, with service. So, hey, notice you're always on your mountain bike. Have you ever thought about getting a road bike or commuter bike? I notice you've got slicks on your mountain bike. So maybe this is even a time where they can, present something and allow them to explore that, after they leave the shop. And I don't know, give them some little nuggets to hold on to. If they turn all this around and turn it down, just give them something they can hold on to. And, hey, last time I came in here, y'all mentioned, this other bike, I'd like to take a look. I gave it some thought. So, what can you leave them with to make them kind of scratch their heads when they're riding their bike the next time, or, heading out of the door? So I kind of like to think about those pieces as well. So
I think
hope.
Like
Yeah, I hope that gave you
totally
some.
nailed that. There's so much there, but you're so right. It's like about getting to know the rider. Yeah, I brought my bike into a mechanic once, and I mean, I think I might have already told you probably. I used to race, and he was like, if you want to be fast, you are going to need different chain, a different gear ratio. And I'm like, I do? And he's like, yeah. Like I had no idea, but he cared enough about me because he knew I wanted to go fast. And then I think about, I hate to always bring up the automobile industry, but I just had to have a transmission fluid flush, right? Like, I don't know, how would I know I need that? But they were looking at my car and they figured it out and they told me. So I think what you're saying, like inspect that whole bike, inspect the linkage, like everything, so you can make good suggestions, 100%.
Yeah, just build that trust right up front. Hey, my name's Ben. I'm so glad you came into the shop today. What have you been up to? Have you been able to enjoy the weather? Can't wait for the warm weather to hit. Ready for the rain to go away. It's things like that. Just start that conversation. Everyone loves talking about the weather, right? So why not start there?
I love it. All right, let me get to my next one. We've been talking a lot about inventory, and one of the things that I've been advising retailers is find a high margin item like chain lube and put it right near the cash register. And every bike that comes out of your service department, especially if it's the lube you use in the repair shop, sell a thing of lube, but make great margin on it and take home that profit all day long. So this retailer pushed me, and he's like, well, I can't just have my mechanics just selling lube. We should probably have some like keywords, like essential tips or techniques that they recommend to riders for keeping their chain in optimal performance, and making sure it's going to last as long, and making sure it's ready for all different riding conditions. So, and how often should they be lubing? So he's like, this is a great one for your text flex, ask it. So
Absolutely.
when
Yeah,
we're talking to
absolutely.
riders about chains, their chains, optimal performance, or when we're selling lube or whatever like that, what are some things we should be telling the rider?
Yeah, this is spot on. I love that you started this question with, those high value items, high margin items. What can I put right next to the counter? The next time you go into the big box store, Target, Walmart, whatever it is, whatever's in the area, CVS is notorious for this, Walgreens as well. What's right next to that item? It's the, candy, it's gum, it's the chips, it's the soda, it's, even, I take my kids into to wherever, and it's like, the toys and all the little trinkets and the bright color stuff is like right at the kids level. And so it's like, hey, they pick it up and, it's like, yeah, we
It's like,
can't buy that.
oh,
We
frustrating.
have 20 of those at home or whatever it is. That's frustrating. But those items obviously are there because they make money, right? And they have a big margin on that. So, think about those things. I love that. What's your chain lube? You're making hopefully a really good margin on that one. Put it up front. What else is there? Can you get a good margin on a tool? Maybe there's a multi-tool or something there. I love to also take these opportunities to talk about how can we empower that rider. So teaching them to measure their chain for wear, sell them that chain wear indicator as well. Hey, we measured your chain today. It was at 0.5. Oh, how do do you know how to measure your chain, or have you ever measured a chain before? And then you have a nice 3-point indicator there that's going to allow them to teach the rider how to measure the chain. Making sure that that chain checker obviously works with their chain. Let them know that you'd love the opportunity to size and replace their chain as well during that drivetrain inspection, or your lubricant cell. You're selling them. How do you apply that? Yeah, you need chain lube, but how do you even go about applying that? When should I apply that? Well, for our area, here's what we recommend for application. Here's what, me personally, here's the chain lube I love, and I put it on, once a week after my last ride for the week, or whatever that looks like. They love, folks love hearing what works for them. That's kind of how I bought, speaking of cars, that's how I bought my last set of tires. Is I don't know what works for you. And
Yep.
that's, what do you recommend? You go out to a restaurant and eat, it all looks the same. What do you recommend? And it's usually pretty decent stuff they recommend. So inform the rider that the drivetrain wears as one system. So it's important to inspect those each individual components. So sell them a chain checker, teach them how to use it, sell them some great chain lube that you'd recommend for your riding region for that time of year. Here in Arkansas, it's going to rain today, but it's going to be 70 degrees tomorrow and, nice and sunny. So it's a different chain lube today than tomorrow. So, but that's where we live. So sell them a chain lube, make sure it's right for the environment. What are you going to do? How can you guarantee that they're going to come back? It's because you're leaving again with that little bit of knowledge. People like to learn a little bit about their bike, what's going to help them stay on the bike a little bit longer. They'll get their money's worth absolutely from that. You'll gain more trust to grow their loyalty, not just as a repeat customer, but loyalty where they drive across the state to see you if they need to.
Right.
This makes me think about also like waxing a chain. I know that's kind
I was
of
going
what
to ask you about that. Yeah, that's like a new trend I think I see on a lot of menus, right? Service shop menus.
Yes, yes. Yeah, it was I don't know what, 5 years ago, maybe 6 years ago. I don't know, people started getting hot and heavy about chain wax. And now if you look at Silka, they've even got their little kit you can buy with the little Silka branded crock pot thing. So super cool. But this needs maintenance as well. A lot of shops are adding chain waxing service on the menu, like you said. Selling them a drip wax to use between the waxing service further is going to extend that dollar amount. And again, the wax, the lubrication that you have right there next to the cash register is it's a high margin item. So, that drip wax, sell them that, hey, you're going to need to apply this in how many ever miles that your waxing is going to last, depending on, of course, so many different factors there with the wax. It seems like each one's a little bit different, but I think the longevity is quite a lot more than just your standard chain lube. So I'm not one to wax to do the waxing
I'm not
service.
there yet. I'm
Not
not there
there
yet.
yet. I found an interesting combination from Allied Bikes. They have, and they're local here in Rogers, Arkansas. They have Grax, Grax. They have a proprietary cleaner that goes with their chain lube, which was actually developed by a chemist at the University of Arkansas, I found out. So, and he came in and actually took one of those community classes from us, and then just happened to give us some of this Grax to try out. And I've really loved it. It's been great. I use it on my Santa Cruz Blur, and it's been fantastic. So
Awesome. Very cool. Well, I'll have to keep the opinions open on that one. I'm not there yet,
sure.
but I'm
Yep. Yeah.
all right, so let's go on to the next one. Some great information there. Thank you as always. So this question's on e-bikes. The question reads, considering the increasing prevalence of e-bikes and their diverse designs, are there any versatile tools or equipment that you believe every bike retailer should have to handle various models and brands?
Yes, absolutely. First, I like to say, are we authorized to work on that e-bike brand?
Right.
Meaning e-bikes in general, and then the brand itself. I would highly recommend, if you haven't done so already, and I think that most of our listeners and dealers out there have looked at this, but your insurance policy, is it going to cover the shop if there was some type of e-system failure? God forbid there's be something like that happen, but recommend taking a look at that insurance policy and making sure that you can service those if you have, or you're wanting to get into it. I know there's a shop locally that can't sell e-bikes, can't even service e-bikes because they're, the insurance on the building would be, just catastrophic to the entire business. It's just so expensive. So unfortunately, that bike shop is not able to service, and e-bikes are huge in this area. EMTBs are taking over. Another thing is that I like to think about and like to question is, can we gain support from the brand or the manufacturer? Meaning, can we access that diagnostic software? Which diagnostic software, plugging it into a computer, is actually, kind of that first step. Is it charged? Check yes. Does it turn on? Check yes. Can I plug this in and run that diagnostics through the software, hardware, whatever that looks like? And there's a number of tools that you might have to have, depending on the brand. So I know Bosch has their own, Specialized has their own as well. So some of that diagnostic software, hardware, it's going to be a little bit protected. And most most of your diagnostic tools can track down failure points for you. So you don't have to worry about, chasing wires and hop swapping components. It's not run a wire to the outside of the bike back to the speed sensor. Your diagnostic software, you plug it in, it's going to tell you where that failure is. So yes, this is the failure. I can go through and take care of this. I know that also, Shimano has their tool as well through the eTubes project. And that's something that's probably going to be a little bit more available to a lot more dealers out there. So going for software probably a little bit more accessible, but are we able to gain the support from the brand, the manufacturer, to access that diagnostic software is kind of the second question I like to ask. And then a lot of tools, or a lot of manufacturers have their own tools. You got the Specialized Turbo Studio, Bosch, both have proprietary tools and software that requires dealer agreements and training to access. We've been fortunate enough just here at the school to access that Specialized Turbo Studio, but we also had to have a really good relationship with Specialized. We're not a retailer, we're not a bike shop, we don't sell anything, but we happen to have and be fortunate enough to have 13 Turbo Levos and then 13 Creos, which is amazing, right?
That's why you can train your students on them. Yeah.
Yeah,
Fabulous.
absolutely. It's a great partnership, and thank you, Specialized, for that. Specialized has a really good presence here in Bentonville. We have a really good relationship with the local team and the brand manager, Paul McLean. And through this partnership, just as one example here, we were able to send 5 of our students through their level 1 and level 2 turbo training, which is fantastic. It's an amazing opportunity for students. This is significant because there's a lot of turbo bike owners. Having a turbo trained tech furthers that shop's ability to service those bikes. So if you're a Specialized dealer, I would absolutely recommend you don't have any turbo trained techs. I would look into it, absolutely. So what brands do you have? Trek with the Bosch. Look into getting that. Make sure that you are getting up to speed on the training, educating or allowing for opportunities for educating with your technicians, getting that tool access as well, meaning mostly the diagnostic software. I know Aventon as well. We've got 13 of the Aventon Pace 350s, I think. Oh yeah, that's right. Sorry. I look at too many bikes. Sorry.
Fantastic advice, though. So if a retailer is considering bringing on a new e-bike brand, I think one of those first conversations should be like, what kind of support do you have? Is it easy to get the tools and the software that we need for your brand? What kind of training do you have? I think that's fabulous advice. Wow. Congratulations. Like Specialized has really stepped up to the plate to help you guys. I'm so happy to hear that. And I think that's wonderful. Those are nice bikes too.
Yeah, it's fantastic. We love having them. And they hit a lot of other pieces for us as well. The Levo is a full suspension, so we're able to use that for our suspension class. And of course the Creo has a Di2 drivetrain, so that helps with the drivetrain class. So
nice. Yeah. All right, let's do it. Final question. Here we go. The retailer writes, could you provide guidance on how often tubeless sealant should be replenished or replaced, I guess? And what strategies do you recommend for effectively letting our riders know that their bikes need this sort of, maintenance, ongoing maintenance, if you would? Yeah. I think this we could sell a lot more of if we let people know, hey, this has to be done.
Yes, absolutely, we could. I love tubeless. I love having tubeless tires. It's fantastic. It was an innovation that I sold from when back in the early days of Stan's No Tubes whenever they launched. Yeah, that was a mess, but so glad to have them. They convinced me that I need to be tubeless for life, and I appreciate that. Thank you, No Tubes. So, it enhances the ride quality. Absolutely. And, it's going to offer that flat protection, but that ride quality sort of really stands out. You can run a lower pressure. So, why even, would you convince a customer to mess around with tubeless? That's the thing right there. It's, gives you more traction, more comfort. With that becomes, more speed. You're going to be able to feel better on the bike after the end of the ride. Just those pieces like that, that's just kind of tapping into that emotional part. But, all of our shops out there know that sealant dries up at some point. It's happened to all of us at sometime. Most of the time, it's the most inconvenient time that happens when we realize, oh yeah, I should have, topped this off before I left the house. I like to approach this conversation alongside the rider as well. Talking that tubeless is fantastic, talking up that experience, really enhancing that bike ride. But just like the rest of the bike, you're going to have some service here as well. In order to get that full benefit, there's a little bit of maintenance in mind. So hand them a bottle of your favorite tubeless sealant, put it in their hand. This is the brand we replenish or refresh, our sealant with. I would recommend, whatever your recommendation is there. And that's typically the brand. The bottle is going to tell you right on the back. The brands might say every 3 months, but giving your personal twist on this, you could say, I ride a lot just like you and refresh every 2 months. This is when I find that this works best for us. Saying things like this brand only recommends 1.5 ounces in each tire. I found that 2 ounces work a little bit better for our riding climate. And it also increases flat protection. That is key right there, knowing, hey, this is going to keep you riding a little bit longer and you don't have to change a flat. So that's always a plus. But most of your tubeless sealant, you just read the back. It's going to tell you what they recommend. You've got a lot of folks in your shop that ride tubeless as well. But I like to hand the bottle to them, hand that little, bottle, if there's a, little travel bottle of it, whatever that looks like, maybe have that right next to your register. Hey, what's this? Oh, that's not chain lube. That's actually tubeless sealant. Well, what is tubeless sealant? What do I need this for? And then all of a sudden you might have sold a tubeless conversion and new tires and all that good stuff. You never know, right? So, so starting out with, kind of the why we do it, make sure they have that product in their hands so they can feel it, touch it, and then you can talk through like the recommendations. We just went through this conversion on your bike, but you're going to need to refresh that every couple months. Here's when I do it. And maybe that's an opportunity where they say, well, I don't want to do any of that stuff. I don't want anything to do with that. I'm going to bring it to you. Okay, great. I'm going to text you when it's time. And we put you into our POS system. We're going to send a text message to you in a couple of months. Hey, it's time to refresh that sealant. Don't forget to stop by this Saturday morning. We'll take care of you.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's a huge opportunity there. And you're right. It happens at the worst time. And it's a job like I don't want to do it at the house. Like I don't have a compressor. So yeah, it's like if someone reminds me, I'm like, oh yeah, I should do that. Same with checking my brake pads. So lots of good stuff today. Lots of good stuff.
Yeah. A lot of fun. Thanks for those questions.
Oh man, I think they're great. I've got like 12 questions in the bank right now. So we've got lots of questions for our next episode. But if you are listening and you have questions of your own, anything at all about bicycle service center, mechanics training, bicycle assembly, e-bikes, really anything goes, questions or photos. If you're working on something, you're like, I just don't know, send it to me and I'll get Ben looped in and we'll address the question either on the air or if it's something that needs attention sooner, we'll just get back to you because we're pretty cool like that. Ben, looking forward to the summit. So May 22nd and 23rd, we'll do an optional activity for our attendees to visit and tour the facility again and meet you in person, which is awesome. And then you're going to be speaking at the event as well. So
yeah, I can't wait. Hopefully see every listener out there and maybe more. So it's going to be great. Come by. Obviously for our tour here, I'd love to have you in the shop and just experience the space. It's pretty unique. And then we of course got the rest of the building. That's hopefully going to wrap up the 1st of June, but that's going to be pretty interesting. So some of the things happening over there. Yeah.
It's so exciting to stand in that building and see what you've done and what you're doing and the opportunity for what can be done in the future. So yeah, listeners, thanks for listening to The Flex today. If you're a member of the NBDA, thanks for your membership. If you're not yet, head over to the NBDA, nbda.com. That's our website. Learn more about our member resources, advocacy efforts, and all the benefits of joining. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to support the show. You can share this with your friends, with other mechanics that you know. And also you can subscribe to the show and you can also leave a review. All right, that's it. Thanks for listening. Now go be great.
Thank you for listening to Bicycle Retail Radio. This podcast is designed specifically for the bicycle industry, dedicated to strengthening our retailers and cycling community. If it is your first episode, we urge you to take the time and listen to our past episodes.
The NBDA values the importance of deep interpersonal connections, and our Retailer Summit is designed to be a catalyst for just that. Attending the Retailer Summit in May ensures you meet the right people who know the bicycle industry, respect your business, and want to help you grow, both personally and professionally. It's an easy way to take your business to the next level through networking, engaging with panelists and speakers, problem solving with your fellow attendees, followed by ample riding time on world-class trails. Go to nbda.com/retailer summit for more information and to get your tickets today.